And welcome back. Hour number 2, the Pick Sportsline. Bob and Hugh till 7 o'clock tonight. And little different take here tonight. We thought it was a good time as any to bring in our folks, our partners at Thiel College, as we get ready to broadcast another season of Thiel Tomcat football here on 790 WPIC. And invited Kurt Reiser into the studio, a longtime color commentator Don Achenbach, and of course the voice of the Tomcats now for over a decade, Hugh Ringer. And take it away, Hugh. Let's talk some Thiel Tomcat football.
Absolutely. And Kurt, Don, we're glad to have you guys seated to my right tonight. And we have a lot to talk about in what we think is going to be an exciting and promising 2015 Tomcat football season. Kurt, the last time we talked on these airwaves, we kind of put a capper on the 2014 season, which was a 4-6 campaign punctuated by some good wins, several of them on the road, ironically, more than at home. A couple of disappointing losses, I'm sure you'd agree, and a lot of young men on your football team received President's Athletic Conference mention at the end of the year for their fine play. And your thoughts turn to 2015, and what have you accomplished between the end of the season on November 16th against Grove City last year to where we are now on the 22nd of June getting ready for the 15 season?
Well, I think our upperclassmen had a great off-season this spring. I think we made strides in spring practice in the weight room. And we've done a lot of recruiting over that time period, and we have a good freshman class coming in. We're looking forward to getting those guys in August and getting them ready to go. And we're going to need some young guys to step up. We're going to be rather young this year, I think, from a roster standpoint with 13 seniors, 9 juniors. So we need some young kids to step up. We feel like we got a good nucleus of guys to build around, and looking forward to the start of the season.
Well, we want the fans to know we're going to throw a lot of names their way, but I think maybe a good point to start. And Dawn, feel free to interject on anything here, but I think a good place to start is with your returning veterans, and you do have a good number, and on offense, let's just throw some names out. You can talk a little bit about them and how they're doing. Obviously, your quarterback is returning, Ryan Radke, who's a very scintillating, exciting young man, and I know you're expecting great things from him. He can be a backbreaker to opposing defenses with his legs, but I think you and your coaching staff, and certainly your quarterback coach, Daryl Satterfield, hoping that he takes his passing game to another level in 2015.
Well, I think that's what we need from him this year. He's by every stretch of the word, he's one of the most dynamic athletes in the entire conference. Does a lot of great things for us offensively, and we've said over the course of the 2014 season, Ryan needs to progress as a quarterback, making reads, completing balls with a higher completion percentage and things like that. And I think that he took that in stride this spring. I think he had a great spring in spring practice, and really got a better hold of what we're doing offensively. And I think we're going to see improvement from him this fall, and great improvement in that area. I think he'll become a better passer, which will make him even more dangerous as an offensive weapon.
As we talk about skilled players, Kurt, I think the other two key skilled players that the fans would be most aware of would be Ronnie Howard from Sharon High, who got some all-conference mention last year, one of my favorite kids for many, many reasons, and also Taylor Fink, who many people felt was an underskilled, undersized back, who I think has made the most of his abilities and has stepped up his game tremendously. They're going to be linchpins for sure, what you do offensively.
Well, absolutely. Both of those kids are reach your full potential type of kids, and they work extremely hard. Taylor gives us everything he's got in the backfield. He runs hard and does a great job in our offense. We can throw him the ball to the backfield if we want to, and he'll do a great job catching the football. And Ronnie Howard has just been an outstanding young man for us on the field, off the field. And just a great kid to be around, and he works extremely hard, playing football for us during the fall and doing things with the track team in the spring and going through spring practices and those types of things. We know Ronnie's a key for us this year, and we expect big things from him.
Now, obviously, they're the ones who are on your mind first and foremost. But you've lost some players, and I guess we need to start with your All-American center, Jason Crystal. This kid has been a rock in the lineup. Has played some guard, played center so well. No problems with him. But now you lose him, and along with that, you lose Chase Good from the offensive line, Carr from the offensive line. You lose your blocking fullback, Richie Smallwood. So there are holes to be filled in the offensive line, and that's your area as head coach and offensive coordinator. You won't give up the O-line for good reason, and you're going to be playing a lot of young guys, and we'll talk about some of them who need to fit in to make this all work.
Well, Jason was an outstanding football player for us, and probably people who are sitting in the stands watching can't really admire as much as they should of what he did for us, from making calls and being our coach up front for us. Really, he was a coach on the field. He knew things so well and directed traffic so well up front for us. That's going to be one of the big keys for us. We're going to need guys like Jake Swan, who'll be a junior next year, started for us at guard this past year. He's going to have to step up and take more of a leadership role. Gary Heiner started for us at left tackle this past year. He's going to have to step up and take more of a leadership role. And then Rayshawn Nevins came in 2014 and wasn't a starter for us, but got playing time at the center position when we would move Jason to guard, and did a great job for us. So there's going to be a lot on his shoulders as well. And then you're right, we're going to have some young guys that need to step up and fill some holes, and we're going to be pressed to get them ready as quickly as we can.
Before we leave the offensive line, Kurt, a guy who's been around but has been injured is Manny Espinosa, who's coming off a knee injury. But you told me the other day you're very high on this kid, and if he can stay healthy, you think he could be a major contributor in the O-line.
Well, Manny was a bright spot in camp last year as an incoming freshman. We felt like he was doing a really nice job. He was going to get some playing time late in camp. He had a knee injury, so he sat out the entire year. But he was with us every day, watched practice, learned. Was with us this spring, worked extremely hard in the weight room. I think he's going to be ready to go this fall, and I think he's going to be able to take advantage of his opportunity.
Now, another player that you've lost on offense, not to graduation, but to transfer, was the second-team all-conference wide receiver Marcus Johnson, who was just scintillating in his first year. That's a loss, but it's the kind of thing that I guess you do expect is going to happen from time to time.
Absolutely, and we're not going to dwell on who we lose, and our guys have their eyes in the front of their head for the reason, and so that they can focus forward and look towards this season. And we have some guys there that we feel good about. Adam Tajudin came in last year as a freshman, played well for us at times, actually started the Westminster game for us and did a really nice job. He had an outstanding spring, probably one of the best springs on the team. And then Alex Horvadits was just a great kid last fall, made some big catches for us in several games. In a backup role, and I think he's come a long way in a leadership standpoint and had a good spring. So, I think we're going to have some young guys there too that we're bringing in that are going to challenge and be ready to go.
And two tight ends who played a lot of football for you last year. Talk about them. Ryan Rowland, I know, as a freshman you were high on last year. Has he progressed?
Ryan has progressed. He's progressed very well. He's got a better handle on the offense, and probably what not many people know about Ryan is that Ryan played offensive line in high school because he was forced to. He came to us, wanted to play tight end. We put him at tight end, so that was a whole new ball game for him, learning pass routes and blocking schemes and things like that. So this spring was huge for him, and he did a great job learning and spending extra time watching film and those types of things. And then Ben Moore came a long way last year. Both of those guys are going to be counted on to help us run the football, and we're going to need them to do that. So hopefully they're having a great summer working out, and they'll be ready to go on August 12th.
Now let's go to the defense and talk about who is back and who you've lost. And I guess when you start on defense, you start up front. and you start with your star up front, a big playmaker in Riley Shane. This kid should be one of the dominant D linemen in the conference, shouldn't he?
Yeah, he should be. And, honestly, we've been saying that the last couple years, and I think that we've seen flashes of brilliance from Riley at times, and we need the whole consistent effort this year. He's going to be the guy that's going to be counted on to be our leader defensively. He's got to step up and be a force up there that has to be reckoned with every single play, every down that he's on the game field. And those things. So we have high expectations for Riley. We feel like he's going to be ready to go, and he'll deliver on that.
You have some depth potentially in the secondary. Chris Jones was an all-conference performer for you, and he locked down on a lot of good receivers in that conference. I thought the second half of the year, in addition, Trey Andrews and Sarah Torrey and Trevor Martin and some other young men that you think a lot of. So this could be a good group in the secondary.
I think it could be a good group. Sarah Torrey came in as a freshman last year and was our defensive newcomer of the year as a freshman defensive back, did a nice job for us at the safety position. You mentioned Chris Jones played really well for us at corner. Fast kid, not very big, but plays bigger than what he is, and he can run, and he's fast, and a sprint champion in the conference in track this past spring. Trevor Martin, just a very intelligent football player, understands where he needs to be, and Trey Andrews got his feet wet last fall playing corner for us, and at times looked very good, at times struggled a little bit. So I think with that season under his belt, I think he'll be fine this coming fall.
And you lose, of course, Marte Hainsworth in the secondary, who was very versatile, playing corner and safety. But the key area, I guess, in addition to getting more depth on the defensive line and finding some youngsters who can fill in. You did lose, of course, Cody McClelland, who was an outstanding DN for a few years for you. But boy, I look at the linebacker core, Kurt Reiser, and Wes Schmidt's gone, Tommy Thorpe is gone, Jack Sendlinger is gone. They were tackling machines for much of the year. That's the bad news. But the good news is you have a couple of kids, including at least one who was hurt last year and we didn't see, who could be more than capable replacements.
Oh, absolutely. We'll there's no doubt that we're going to miss those three kids that we lost. Wes Schmidt, Tommy Thorpe, and Jack Sedlinger were just very good football players for us, got to the football very well, made tackles. We could count on them, and our defense counted on them last year to make plays, and they delivered. But we're excited about the guys that are coming up. Jake Elk is one of them, out of Baldwin High School down in Pittsburgh. Was a freshman for us last fall, be a sophomore this year. Bigger kid, weighing about 220, so bigger than what we've had in the past. Shane Russell out of Iroquois High School up in Erie did a great job for us. He came a long way this past spring. So those two guys look like the favorites to win starting positions going into this fall, and those things that we think that they can be outstanding football players for us. And Kyle Hockenberry came in last year as a freshman, played a lot in special teams for us, and he's going to be in the mix. So we have some guys there that I think are ready to step in and ready to deliver, and again, we're going to have to coach them up, and they're going to have to go out and prove themselves, having not played very much to this point, and they're going to be put in the frying pan right away.
Now, we've overviewed the offense and defense in terms of who you lost and who you have back. But if folks are doing the math and looking at the positions, I think you can see that there are a lot of opportunities for youngsters to come in. And first of all, you've told me on 2 occasions, Kurt, that you think you've had a very good recruiting year, and we want to talk about some of these young kids. Overview the class, and then first we'll talk about some local kids that you managed to reel in.
Well, I thought we had an outstanding year in recruiting, especially in the western Pennsylvania area. Daryl Satterfield recruited from Greenville up to Erie, PA, and out to Central PA, and John Herrickle and I covered the Pittsburgh area, and we really hit it hard and brought in a lot of good kids that we feel very, very good about. Up front, we have a young man from State College coming to us, Matt Harpster, offensive lineman, played at a high level at State College, Quad A football. Devin McDonough down at Elizabeth Ford High School down in Pittsburgh, big kid, 6'1", 290, offensive lineman. We're excited about him. We have a very good long snapper coming in from Sharon, and Shane Young. I think he's going to have an excellent opportunity with that. We have a brother combination last year. We had Justin Zinsmeister join us this year.
Now, you recruit great names, Kurt Reiser, and I'm going to tell you there's one name that reached right out and grabbed me, and you got to tell me, is there anything to this? You have a kid coming in, a linebacker from Canton McKinley. Greenberg doesn't even know this. This kid's name is Doak Walker Jr. Now, what's the real deal there? Was his dad an admirer of the great Doak, or what?
Well, I think that's it right there. I think he was an admirer, and who is it?
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, Doak Walker's an outstanding linebacker. You would think that he would be a running back with that name, but he's an outstanding linebacker out of Canton McKinley High School. We think he's going to be a really good football player for us. Add depth to our roster at the linebacker position. Get his feet wet this fall, and hopefully make an impact for us.
So these young men are going to have an opportunity, and I'm sure they realized that when they signed on to come to Thiel College.
Oh, absolutely. And it's about putting the best 11 people on the field, and I'm a big believer that when you create healthy competition and one guy's pushing another guy to be better, I think that's a good thing, and that's how we get our team to the next level. So
now, be honest, Kurt. Do you as a head coach really not mind playing true freshmen from the get-go, or do you think that they need a little seasoning, as coaches would say, before you throw them into the fray?
Well, I think it all depends on the player.
Okay.
And I think what people need to realize is the huge adjustment that there is between playing high school football and playing college football. You just take into account that for some of these guys, this might be the first time away from home, and adjusting to being away from home might be part of it. The playbook becomes more complex because our kids only play one side of the ball. We don't have to split our practice between offense and defense like a lot of schools do, a lot of smaller schools especially do when kids are playing both ways. So we can afford to be more complex and do more complex things, and sometimes that learning curve is a tough pill to swallow. So that's our job as coaches, is we got to get them ready. And if we have a kid that's a freshman kid that's ready to play and he's the best kid at his position,
I'm Elena. I have a master's degree in giving hope to children in Ethiopia.
I'm John. My farm experience helped villagers in the Philippines feed themselves.
If you have a degree in agriculture, the environment...
And welcome back. Bob Greenberg here, Hugh Ringer, Kurt Reiser, Don Achenbach. Hey, one quick question, Kurt. I just saw this story, and before I let you guys go back to your interview, breaking story this afternoon, and thought I'd ask your opinion on it. P. Diddy was arrested. He went to his son plays for UCLA.
okay.
He was at a UCLA football practice, and his son was getting, verbally screamed at by a defensive coach. After practice, P. Diddy, the famous music mogul, went in and grabbed the coach, and he has now been arrested. And I guess the question for you is, do you have a policy when it comes to parents coming to practice?
We've been pretty open with practice. We allow parents to come and watch practice anytime, any of our camp practices, any practices during the week. And we've had parents there. I think what you're seeing in coaching, through a lot of coaching and high school coaching, college coaching, is that, because of social media and other things and coaches being so accessible, that people are starting to watch a lot of how they're coaching and those types of things. And, we have not had any problems with that type of incident at Thiel since I've been there. And we definitely coach our kids hard, but we certainly don't tear them down personally or anything like that. So, if I was that coach, I would probably close practice after that, certainly, and ask that the parents, keep their distance.
Yeah, the great Phil Jackson wrote in his book that he closed practice to everybody except for trainers and assistant coaches. He thought that was the bonding time for his team. And
isn't it different in basketball versus football? I mean, football's out in the open air. That would be more difficult to legislate. But having parents in a basketball gym is, to me, potentially more volatile.
And, of course, most parents are not like P. Diddy, who is, world famous. And his son is a good player and, didn't like to see his son being ridiculed and maybe yelled at, not ridiculed. But that's the big story. You'll be hearing, I'm sure, a lot about it this week.
Yeah. Okay, let's get back to Thiel Tomcat football. And as promised, Kurt, got to ask you about special teams. There's good news. There's bad news on that side of the football. The bad news is you don't have a kicker. You don't have a punter right now that you can count on. You had a very reliable kicker in Johnny Fennick, who had some health issues and I understand has decided to give up football. Mm-hmm. So you need a place kicker, and Johnny was pretty reliable. And Cody McClellan did your punting the last couple of years and was a full-time DN. We wondered in the booth how he could punt the ball basically so doggone well when he's getting all the snaps on the D-line, but he was able to do it. He graduates. Now you don't have a punter. So what do you do about that?
Well, we have a couple kids on the roster who punted for us last year as freshmen in JV games and practice and those types of things. Dylan Squires from Harbor Creek High School up in Erie. He'll be a sophomore this year. He's got a really good leg, strong leg. I think he needs to become more consistent. If we can get him to be more consistent, he'll be a very good punter for us. So we're excited about him. Austin Buzzard came to us from West Shamokin High School. Was punting a little bit for us last year. He's come a long way too as well. But I think Dylan's the guy right now that's our penciled in as our starting punter. At the kicking position, Colin Peel was a freshman for us last year, backed up Johnny Fennick on several instances. Colin kicked extra points or field goals for us because of an injury to Johnny and those types of things. But
and he's the smallest player you're going to see in uni. What's he weigh? All of about 130 pounds? Am I being generous?
That's about it. I would say he's 130. He's maybe 5'4", and he's got a good leg and
great confidence. Whenever I talk, I love to talk to him, and he always said, "Oh, this is no problem." He said, "I got this handled."
Yeah, he doesn't lack confidence. I think he'll be fine. We're also bringing in a freshman place kicker from West Virginia, Brandon Forrester, who we liked on film. We think he can give us depth there and maybe challenge for the spot as well. So, it's always tough losing a guy like Cody McClellan to graduation with as much as he did for our team, both from a defensive standpoint and a punting standpoint. And then, it's tough to lose a guy like Johnny Fennick too, who was very. We could really count on Johnny throughout the game, and came in and made some huge kicks for us. If you remember back to 2013 in the 4 overtime game against Westminster, he was forced to kick a field goal to tie the game in one of the overtimes, and I think it was 41 yards, and he made it, and under a lot of pressure. So we're going to miss Johnny Fennick, and it's unfortunate that he felt like he needed to hang it up and concentrate on some other things. So, but we need to move forward, and I think we have some kids that are in the fold that can help us do that.
And you mentioned Shane Young, an incoming freshman from Sharon, is going to be a long snapper, so he's in the mix for that job, which is underappreciated by just about everybody but the most dedicated football fans. Now, the good news I was talking about is you have a few return men who can be pretty electric when they get their hands on the football, and the aforementioned Chris Jones is right at the top of that list.
Oh, absolutely. I think Chris is an outstanding returner who, can do a great job for us simply because of his speed and what he can do after he gets the ball in his hands and those types of things. Ronnie Howard's been back there before for us. A little bit bigger body kid can really get it up in there and take a little bit of the beating that you get on a kickoff or a punt return or those types of things. And then, we have some young guys coming in that we feel can be good returners for us as well, along with Adam Tajuden, a wide receiver, did some returning for us a year ago. He'll be in the mix as well this year. So, I think we'll have some guys there that can do some damage for us in the special teams area.
Who is your special teams coach?
Well, we kind of split the duties this year with Matt Arshenkoff and Daryl Satterfield. They're gonna work the special teams for us together. Instead of having one coordinator and putting it all on one guy, we kind of split those duties, and Daryl and Matt will work on those, and I think they'll work really well together and do a great job for us there with those schemes.
And of course, you just mentioned one of your new coaches. You have a couple of changes. on your staff. Let's talk a little bit about the staff. Josh Lott, defensive line coach, is gone, and Thiel fans might be interested in knowing where he went. He's now coaching, is it at the University of Delaware? The Blue Hens?
That's correct.
The Blue Hens. And another Blue Hen up there is one of our all-time favorites, Mr. Versatility from Reynolds High School, Tommy McIntyre.
Yep, that's correct. Yep.
So that's where Josh Lott is. And Sheldon Loeffner left as wide receivers coach. And talk about who is replacing Sheldon Loeffner, and we'll get back to Matt Achenbach, who you mentioned as a special teams coach.
Sure. Ryan Matvico comes to us. He's coaching our wide receivers. Ryan's a graduate of Mercyhurst University up in Erie. He coached this past fall at McMurray College out in Illinois, a Division III school in Illinois. He's originally from the Pittsburgh area, so we're excited about having him. He brings a lot to the table, a little bit of experience coaching. Did a really nice job with our wide receivers this past spring. So I think he's going to do a fine job for us with that position. R.J. Molson, who played for us at Thiel and just finished his coursework at Thiel and graduated, will be coming on as our defensive line coach, a Greenville native and a Greenville high school graduate. R.J. was a student assistant with us last fall, did an outstanding job. We felt like he would be a good fit for us at the D-line position after Josh left and was able to secure a job at the University of Delaware, which is great for him. You know, that's what we want for our intern coaches that grow. You know, they stay with us for a couple seasons, learn as much as they can learn and get their feet wet. And if they get the opportunity to step up to a higher level or get a full-time position at our level, we love for them to do that. And Josh had that opportunity, and you know, more power to him. I think he's a very good young coach, and I think his career is just beginning, and I'm sure he'll have a great career at Delaware as well.
Now, Matt Achenbach, a little bit on him. He was a coach at Akron, I believe, with the Zips, and he's been around a little bit, and he's going to handle the defensive backs.
He is. Matt's an outstanding coach. He did some coaching at the University of Akron, helping out with them defensively. Moved on to North Park University in a full-time role there, you know, working with the defense and special teams there. Did a really nice job coming in late for us in the middle of January and picking up with recruiting and recruiting some very good football players for us. So we feel very confident that Matt's going to do an outstanding job with our secondary. He's going to be a great guy to have on our staff and work with our kids. He brings a lot to the table from a knowledge standpoint and things that, you know, ideas that he can bring to the table that we want to try to incorporate into our program from being at Akron and North Park University. So we're excited about having Matt on our coaching staff.
So with Matt Achenbach and R.J. Molson on your defensive staff, your D coordinator again is going to be John Herrickle, who's about as intense as they get and eats, sleeps, and drinks football. And tell me, is he a little more grounded now that he's a married man?
I think John is a little more grounded now that he's a married man. I haven't actually seen him yet after the wedding. He's not back yet, but you know, we're very, very happy for him and his new wife. And you know, I know that John's excited about this coming fall and the prospects that we have of putting a team together and the kids that we have returned, the kids that we have coming in, and the kids that he recruited. He's very excited about. So we're just looking forward to get started with that stuff on August 12th.
And the old guy's back coaching the linebackers again, right? And I can call him an old guy because he's about my age, Mike Donato.
Mike Donato will be with us again. You know, Mike was an outstanding person to have on our staff. Last fall brought a lot to the table, knowledge standpoint, and did a great job with our kids and working with our kids at Thiel. And they really enjoyed being around Mike and hearing some of the old war stories from back in his Thiel days. And
he loves to tell those.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's great.
We could listen to those all the time. So he's an outstanding individual to have on our coaching staff, one of the best people I've been around. So,
and speaking of best people, Darryl Satterfield fits into that realm as well. Your quarterback coach, I can't think of a better quarterback coach. I know He's excited. He's told me he's excited about Jarrett Pound and, of course, with Radke back and coaching those guys.
Yeah, Daryl does a great job with our quarterbacks, did a great job in recruiting, works extremely hard at being a better coach every day. So we're very, very fortunate to have him in our program and to continue in our program after playing for us and having a great career and those things. So we know that the quarterbacks are getting coached the right way and taught the right things, and I know that they're going to get better this fall. So we're looking forward to that as well.
And you do have a couple of volunteer coaches, returning veteran coaches who've been with you for a while?
Well, Barry Oman and Frank Amott will be around a little bit to help us out, and they always bring a lot to the table from the war story standpoint too. They both have a lot to talk about from that standpoint, but very, very good guys to have coaching with us and helping us out a little bit here and there.
And it is helpful occasionally to have student assistants, and you had two good ones last year in R.J. Molson and Bill Frizzy. Do you have any student assistants?
Well, Marte Hainsworth, we're talking with him about helping us out this year. He's going to finish up his degree this coming fall, so he's going to be joining our staff and working with us a little bit. So any chance that we get to get kids that played in our football program for us to help us, as they finish up their academic careers at Thiel is a plus for us. So having Marte around to help coach on the defensive side of the ball for us, I think will be a very important thing.
Mm-hmm. Now, Don Achenbach, you've been so quiet over there, it's almost scary. I know that there's something on your cranium.
Well, let's hold off yet. We need a break.
Oh, you want to? Okay.
This is the radio pause here.
All right.
The dramatic pause.
Let's step back and catch our breath, and then we'll get Mr. Achenbach.
We have about 10 minutes left for Don to opine any way he wants. So stay tuned. More of the Pick Sportsline. We're talking Thiel Tomcat football tonight.
Get a remarkable clean with non-toxic and biodegradable Simple Green all-purpose cleaner.
You're 5 hours from home.
Yeah, the Thomas More trip going down to Crestview Hills, Kentucky is always a tough trip for us.
That's the pack trip. Opener.
Yeah.
Bethany at night.
Yeah, and Bethany at night, down there at Bethany, and really there's no good way to get to Bethany, it seems.
You got to want to get there.
Absolutely, but we're excited about opening up with Allegheny at our place, first game of the year for the night game. We're excited about that. We go down to St. Vincent this year, and St. Vincent, made big strides with their program last fall, and we know that they'll be ready to go this year as well. We like having Westminster at home, coming to our place for our homecoming. Waynesburg has been a tough trip for us in the past, always been for us in my time at Thiel. Has been a struggle going down there and playing well down there. It's a good 2.5 to 2 hours and 45 minutes away.
Plus the grass is always so tall.
Yeah, and it's tough down there. And then, we're excited about having Carnegie Mellon at our place on Halloween for a night game. So we're going to probably do some special things there with Halloween night that night and that type of thing. And then, we have to travel to W&J, and then we finish up with Grove City College at home and the Mercer County Cup. And sidebar to that game will be, the last game for head coach Chris Smith.
Right.
And, that'll be a big day for, I'm sure, the Grove City contingent.
They'll be fired up for that.
Absolutely, and they should be, and we will be too, because that's the Mercer County
Well, we
Cup.
Want to keep the cup.
Absolutely, we want the cup to stay in our office and those types of things.
So, Coach, who are the teams? Who are the teams? The usual suspects?
Well,
to beat?
I think that the tough suspects at the top of the conference will be, W&J will be favored, I'm sure. Thomas More will be right there with them, and Waynesburg is always top 3, top 4 schools, so I think it's going to be a tough throw.
Gentlemen, word about the end of the road here. It's been a great hour. It's just flown by. It always does. And Kurt, you're going to get a little R&R now, and hopefully the kids will continue to work out. But you'll be ready to go. What's the first practice date?
First practice date is Thursday, August 13th. Kids will check in on Wednesday, August 12th.
And we'll be there. Best of luck to you. Get a little R&R, Kurt, and enjoy the summer.
Will do.
Thanks, guys. That's it for the Pick Sportsline presented by Mel Grotto. Have a great week, everybody.